Morning, all. And so today we've got the one game on, of course, because it's the Stanley Cup Final. That's the one that's right on that board there. You'll see I've switched Tampa and Dallas back, as Dallas is technically the home team tonight. Not that it matters. Game 5 starts at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. The series, of course, is 3-1 in favor of Tampa. And this is it. Now, there hasn't been any news as of yet on who might be out, but I'm going to go ahead and speculate. Foxa, Hintz is probably not going to be playing either for Dallas, which absolutely destroys their penalty kill, and their penalty kill has been quite the story. And of course, on the Tampa side, Stamkos, I'd be very surprised if he plays. I've seen the suggestion of, well, you could throw him into the lineup, and even if he's not going to play, he's still in the lineup for that last game. The danger being, let's say that Killorn ends up going down with an injury, and now you're down to 10 forwards rather than 12 because Stamkos isn't playing. So there's a little bit of danger in that, and when you're trying to wrap up the Stanley Cup, it's probably better safe than sorry. So I do expect it. The interesting thing is, of course, with the Stanley Cup Final, I've been kind of having fun with the thumbnails side of it, where I've been trying to show lightning in the sky at night, and I've been looking for like lightning and stars at the same time, which is not easy to find because usually when you have a thunderstorm, it's cloudy overhead. So last night I found one and I thought, all right, well, and I must have searched for like 10 minutes trying to find the absolute right one, and I thought, all right, well, that'll work. And again, it's just because there's also been people who said, well, this thumbnail shows this team in this end of the rink, so clearly this team won. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it as hard to figure out as possible. And I'm still seeing comments that it's a spoiler to have lightning bolts in the sky as the thumbnail, even though there have been stars in them as well. But hey, you know, I thought it'd be something different, and I thought, that'll be fun, but it's fine. I also wanted to throw in there too, when I'm doing the reviews and I've seen people saying, well, don't gloss over the penalties. That's exactly what I do. I've been watching hockey for about 40 years, and I've heard people complain and gripe and whine about refereeing for 40 years. This isn't anything new. For all the discussions of how great a guy Kerry Fraser is, when he was referee, I heard plenty of complaining about Kerry Fraser. Bill McCreary. I couldn't stand Bill McCreary myself when I was a kid watching Canuck games because I was certain Bill McCreary had it in for Vancouver. But, all these years later, and even Andy Van Hellemond, I used to hear complaints about Andy Van Hellemond. All these years later, referees are human. Do they make mistakes? Yes. In the end, the teams that kill the penalties, it's not a big deal. And the teams that don't, well, that's the way that works. And so I don't get upset about it. So if I see a play and it's like, well, that wasn't a penalty, we'll see if they kill it off. Or, well, they missed that one, And again, it's one of those things where I think we're looking at a Stanley Cup Final right now where the Tampa Bay's up 3-1. They are legitimately up 3-1. They were the better team last night. They've been the better team since the third period of Game 1. And this is all that coming to fruition. So again, Dallas's penalty kill has not been great the last couple of games. Tampa Bay's power play has been great the last couple of games, and their penalty kill has been excellent. So in the end, it all kind of balances out, and usually the right team wins. But hey, just ask Toronto fans about Gretzky. Anyways, yeah. So that's an argument that's been going on for a very, very, very long time, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But I don't talk about it in the reviews because I don't think it's necessarily the reason that a team necessarily wins or loses the game. And I agree, the one thing is that if you're going to call a light penalty against Jamie Benn, okay, and it's the same thing they called Maroon on. But anyways, it's hockey. It's always something to get upset about. Sam Gagner has signed a 1-year extension with the Detroit Red Wings. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad surprise. I think it's a good move. He signs for $850,000. And yeah, so he's back with Detroit next year. And I think Yzerman has a plan here to gradually build the team up. I guess Gagner's part of that plan. Kudos to both Sam Gagner, who I liked in Vancouver, and to Steve Yzerman for bringing the guy in and managing to keep him around. And if he'd been making that kind of cap hit with Vancouver, he might have still been in Vancouver. It was really the cap Vancouver's had some contracts over the last few years that we can look at and say, really? Anyways, good news for Sam Gagner and for I think for the Detroit Red Wings too. Good depth player. Ottawa has officially bought out Bobby Ryan. You know what's interesting too is that I saw a lot of comments yesterday about how cheap Ottawa is to buy out Ryan. People know he gets paid, right? Like, this isn't you're bought out so your entire contract's stripped up. He's still getting paid. The cost, according to Cap Friendly, is $1.8 million a year for 4 years. That's not too shabby, considering he already got a big cash payout on July 1st. So, it's not bad. Not bad. He is making more than twice as much as Sam Gagner to not play hockey for Ottawa. And on October 9th, he can sign a contract somewhere else. I would think making maybe $1.5 million a year. That'll bring him up to $3.3 million a year. It's not bad. It's a pretty good way to make a living. I mean, it's not the kind of money I make. Yeah, right. Anyways, Bobby Ryan will be okay. The Senators, I think, are clearing up space, which to me, I see something else going on here. This is a team that has not been at the cap anyways, so I think Ottawa's got something in the works. I think they're going to weaponize their draft picks, and I think they're going to be looking to add to their roster. The plan may very well be draft at 3, draft at 5, see what you can get for the other draft picks, and try to have a team next season that can compete for a playoff spot. And again, that would have to come from Eugene Melnyk. That would have to be his decree, and we'll see what happens. So Bobby Ryan, he's going to be a popular target, I would think. And on a value contract, he's going to be worth it. So anybody wondering, well, where could he go? Anywhere. He could go anywhere. Teams that are cap strapped might look at Bobby Ryan as an affordable option to help shore up some scoring if they're trying to shed cap. So, we'll see what happens. I wanted to talk about qualifying offers. So, and this is from the CBA as reported by Cap Friendly. So, Cap Friendly will show you how much money it'll cost to qualify players as well. Now, the qualifying offers process goes as follows. I've signed a guy to an entry-level contract. When that contract is up, if I want to hold on to his rights, I have to pledge a certain amount of money via a qualifying offer, saying, here is my offer to you. And it can't be less money. So it has to be 110% if the player's previous contract had been $660,000 or less. There aren't any contracts at that level anymore that I know of. 105% of anywhere between $660,000 and $1 million. So you have to add 5%. And 100% if it's more than $1 million. And that's their salary, not their cap hit. So this is where things get kind of murky, and I do suggest people use Cap Friendly to figure out, well, why wasn't this guy qualified? And then you can look and see and go, okay, so this is where it's going to get ugly. And the qualifying offer is interesting. Like Timo Meier in San Jose, he's got a nice cap hit of $6 million a year for what he provides, but because his salary the last year of it, I think, is $7.5 million. In order for San Jose to keep him, they have to qualify him at $7.5 million at the end of that contract. So that's where things get kind of tricky. And this is how you can get a guy to sign for maybe below what he thinks he's worth on the market, and keep the cap hit down while keeping the player happy. You give them one of those contracts that starts out lower and ends up being a higher number, and when they're restricted free agent, it costs a lot to keep them. And if you look at, let's say San Jose looks at Timo Meier at the end of that contract and says, you're not worth $7.5 million. We can't justify that qualifying offer. You don't offer him that, and then he goes to the free agent market, the same as a Bobby Ryan who just got bought out, the same as Torrey Krug, who looks like probably leaves Boston. And so, it's tough. And the limit for a qualifying offer is 120% of what the player's making. And then you can sit down and negotiate with them and say, okay, so the qualifying offer was a starting point. What would you like? Here's what we're offering. And then you get into that discussion. And then some contracts are eligible for arbitration, meaning that if the GM and the players sit down and they say, all right, well, we don't agree on this, then they can go to a third-party arbitrator who listens to both sides and then makes a ruling. And the ruling could be almost anything at that point. Or it's like, okay, I think you're worth this. We didn't even talk about that value. I think he is. It's fine. So for Canucks perspective, because I've got my new Thatcher Demko jersey on, which I got yesterday from Cool Hockey, so kind of excited about the jerseys coming in after that 40% off sale. It's 30% off right now for teams that are eliminated from the playoffs, so free plug again. Jake Virtanen in Vancouver is a big topic of conversation because the Canucks don't want to lose Demko, they don't want to lose Hughes, they don't want to lose Pettersson, so that's next year in the offseason. They have to worry about them. Virtanen's cap hit was $1.25 million this past season. However, to qualify him, they have to offer him $1.4 million. Now, the interesting thing is he actually made $1.5 million, but $100,000 of that was a signing bonus. They don't have to offer them the signing bonus amount, just the salary. So $1.4 million for Virtanen and Troy Stetcher, who is, I don't know if they're going to keep him because the qualifying offer is $2.325 million a year. And with the Canucks as cap strapped as they're going to be next year, Stetcher might be one of those guys where they look to cut costs. Unless they qualify him and they find a taker for Jordy Benn's contract. I don't know that necessarily happens, but yeah, so this is where things get interesting, is qualifying offers. Like I said, this is a great time of year for accountants and accounting and all that other wonderful stuff, and math. I was told there wouldn't be any math. Well, there is. There's lots of math. And this year there could be more than ever because of the flat cap. So the salary cap's not moving up for at least the next couple of years. And there are some players due for a raise who may not get it. There are players due for big qualifying offers who may end up going to the market instead. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.